The game source released the new fact about the 4th edition of Age of Sigmar, Skaventide, the 21 August 2024. This has been done quite stealthy because they have not communicated anything on the Warhammer community like they done recently for Warhammer 40k facts. Anyway, I bring up about the updated part, so if you're interested about the previous one, I invite you to see in the description the link about my previous video about the facts that are brought so that you can see about them. And about this, I'll treat about the main facts so that there are some things that I show you where to find because there are little things that has changed, but it's quite important to understand. And remember that in the download part of about Age of Sigmar of the Warhammer community, you can find the new PDF updated for the armies, that you can find the things that has been changed here, but that has been brought directly on the things so that you can simply download them and have the updated part. And the app, it's been simply updated, the app itself, so everything should be updated and you can find directly there what has been changed about your army and so on quite easily. So it's really quite intriguing part. I think that the app is really quite intriguing recently, up release about Age of Sigmar, so it's quite nice. So now we can go to see about the contents of such updated. And the first thing that you go to see, it's about some changes that has been brought in the profiles that has been mistaken in some way. The first one that I want to make you see, it's something that I verified and that I found strange at the beginning, and I knew that they would be made some update subtly, and it's about the Seraphon with the Slam Master that had a 50mm base in the previous PDF, and it was obviously wrong because it's 80mm base inside, so okay, it's simply like that. And I made the same about other things for the profile, so you have simply to see if there is something that you had to see something wrong that has been corrected about this. There are really few things, but you have to see for your army eventually because there are really few things related. For example, there is another one about the Sublight Heroes, about the Black Knight, that had the wrong base, that it was the same for the Black Knights, instead they have a bigger one. So simply verify the one. And really, there are a few ones, but eventually if you've seen something that it was mistaken so on, see if that's been corrected, because there are really few things about. So after having seen these, we had to go to see about the part that are, I can say, more important for now, that are related about the rules. So now we go to see about the rules updated and their changes. The most part about the correction about the rules are the same, and some of the updated are simply specifying about, so there are little things that has been not corrected but adjusted a bit of wording and so on. For example, about the weapon ability that are changed about the companion, so unless otherwise specified, this weapon is not affected by friendly abilities that affect weapon characteristic or the attack sequence, except those that apply negative modified to it. So it's really few things that has been having such thing, but there are something that instead are really quite a lot. For example, about the abilities, that some abilities have a red timing bar. Can these abilities only be used in the combat phase? No, the words in the timing bar or in the case direction are passive abilities. The specific wording of the ability will let you know exactly when you can use it. The color is just there as a play aid. If a phase is not specified, the color indicates the most common phase it is used in, or if it is used in multiple phases equally, the timing bar is black. So this is quite important because, for example, it make you see that you have not to only see, okay, it's that one, and you have to read the text, but anyway, the color it's an hide, so nice. There are some abilities have a green timing bar, again about the timing. Okay, what does this mean? The green timing bar is used to indicate defensive abilities, many of which can be used in multiple phases. For example, another thing that has been added about using the abilities, if my opponent uses a reaction, for example, all-out attack, I pass on using a reaction, and then my opponent using a second reaction, a faction-specific ability, could use then a reaction or had missed your chance because I passed the first time, And it say you could use a reaction, because even if you pass on using a reaction earlier, you would still have the opportunity to use a reaction after your opponent. So each time the opponent use an ability, you can react. So it's quite nice. About picking target, when making shooting attacks, can all models in the attacking unit shoot even if the target unit is not visible to some of those models? No, the only models in the attacking unit that can make shooting attacks are those the target unit is visible to. So it's important, this one. The attack sequence, if any ability allows a unit to score a critical hit or on a modified rolls of 5+, but that unit needs a 6 to hit, so something that contrasts about the rules needed. As a result of subtracting 1 from hit roll, would the modified hit rolls of 5 hit the target? If so, would they still trigger any critical hit effect? Although the hit would count as critical hit, the attack would not score a successful hit, as the success attack sequence and if an attack fails. Effect such critical to hit, critical to wound would have no effect. However, effects that are resolved immediately, such as critical mortal, will still triggered by those critical hit. So it's quite nice about this, because they make you really understand better about the attack sequence. This, I think that it was something that it was needed. About slim models, do models removed as a result of a unit being out of connect count as being slain? Yes. This, I think that it's something that it's better that is specified, because it could be simply some losses, but not something that has been slain. So can change completely the amount for other uses. So it's really quite intriguing. Strike first and strike last. Can I use an ability that allow a friendly unit that does not have strike first to fight immediately after a friendly unit that has strike first, if there are not one or more unit with strike first that has not yet been picked to fight? And here it's interesting as well. No, as mentioned in the bar next to 19.0 abilities that allow a unit to use a fight ability immediately after another unit do not override the strike first constraint. So you cannot pick a unit that does not have strike first to fight until all other units that have strike first has fought. This is quite important, because it's make really mark that there is something that has been specified and not read really correctly. So really, this is something that it's correct that they specified. It's an enforcement about the rules. Then, if a friend unit is the only unit that has strike first on the battlefield and it has an ability that allows a friendly unit to fight immediately after it, it's really linked to the one before. In what order would the unit be picked to fight? If you are the active player, the unit that has strike first would fight first, then you can use the ability to allow another friendly unit to fight immediately after it, and then you would pick the next unit to fight. For example, 3 friendly units will fight back to back. If your opponent is the active player, the unit that has strike first would fight first. You would still use the ability to allow another friendly unit to fight, and then your opponent will pick the next unit to fight. This it's really quite something that clarifies. It's simple anyway, because it was understandable like this, but it make you understand better how it works. So I think that this is something that it's quite welcome about. Then about weapon abilities, we have a new one that if a weapon has the companion weapon ability, would it be affected by friendly abilities that grant new weapon abilities or that modify weapon abilities for the weapon already has? No, unless the ability specifically name the weapon or state that it affects companion weapons. This it's a repetition, because it's written many times that the companion can be affected only if it's specifically written that they are affected. Anyway, okay, it's something that better than possible misunderstanding. Then we have once per timings. If an ability that is on a unit was called as the once per turn, once per battle, or once per battle round timing without army afterwards, can multiple friendly unit use that ability at the same time period? And really here important, because It depends on who is using the ability. See the bar next to the point 20.28.2. If a unit is using the ability, for example, the clear step specifically say to pick a unit to use it, then each unit could use that ability in that time period. If the player is using the ability, for example, nothing in the ability specifically say that it is used by a unit, it can only be used once in that time period. Not that picking the target of an ability is not the same as picking a unit to use that ability. This it's really quite intriguing because it's something that specifies better. Sincerely, this it's a point that I'll mark because it's quite important one. It has been, as said, explained in another point, but this clarify even more. So I think that it's really quite nice about. Then we can see about the advanced rules, and here we can find, for example, an update about the terrain for the faction terrain. Here we have the chapter that has been added. So if a unit placed on a terrain feature is removed from it, for example, the ability that removes them from the battlefield, that unit count as having left the terrain feature and loses any special rules or benefits it had on a result of being placed on it. Sincerely, I found it normal, but anyway, better that is specified if they will create some misunderstanding eventually. Then we have about magic for the spell. So change the third paragraph to enemy reaction can only be used if the casting rolls equal or exceed the spell casting value, so long as the spell is not unbound, see point 4.0, then it is successfully cast, resolve its effect. I think that here clarify everything that maybe could be vague, but I don't think. Anyway, it's nice that has been updated. Then we have something related about the commands, movement, and phase commands. If an ability modify a run roll, does that ability modify the roll made in the redeploy ability, since redeploy has the run keyword? And here interesting because it say no. Named roles such as run roll are only modified by ability that specifically call out the type of roll. This is nice. I think that it is something that it's due to be said. Then can a unit use the covering fire command after using the deploy command? And say yes. Nice. Then we have the end of the turn command. When using the power through command, can my models pass through enemy models in the target unit or only through the target unit combat range? Your models can only pass through the target unit combat range unless your unit has fly or is otherwise allowed to pass through models. And I think that it's due, and really better to be specified this one. Then about the terrain, that wholly on and behind the terrain. When checking if a unit is behind a terrain feature, do I need to draw a line for the attacking model base to the target base or from any point of the attacking model to any point of the target? And you say from any point to any point. And I think that it's perfect because it really avoid any misunderstanding in such way. So this is important one. Then if one part of a unit is behind one terrain feature that has the cover ability, another part of the unit is behind a second terrain feature that has the cover ability, and it is not supposed to draw a line to a model in that unit without the line passing one of those terrain features. Will that unit be affected by the cover ability? Yes. Okay, it's simple but direct, and I think that it's correct in this way. So really quite nice. Then we have is some, but not all, the models in a unit making a shooting attack are within 3 inches of the outer edge of a terrain feature that has the cover ability, and it is impossible to draw a line from an attacking unit to the target unit without the line passing across the terrain feature. Will the target count as being behind the terrain feature and thus be affected by the cover ability? Pay attention here. No, since you ignore part of the terrain feature within the attack unit combat range when determining if the target is behind that terrain feature. You will be able to draw a line from a model in the attacking unit to a model in the target unit that only pass across the parts of the terrain feature being ignored. And here I admit that it's quite intriguing as part, so you have to pay attention about this because it changed, or but it could change quite a lot the way, so you have to pay attention about being in that way to have the cover, so the within 3 inch, so it's really quite important one. Then we can see more about the advanced rules, about the power level that's been updated. If a unit has multiple power levels, for example, that is a hero that is both a wizard and a priest, and another ability modified that unit power level, which power level does it modified? Before it was simply both, but here it's specified better. So if that ability only targets wizard or only target priest, it modifies the corresponding power level. If it is could target either or does not specify the target, it modifies both. So it's simply better answered, simply it, but I quite like. Then about, again, the manifestation. Are manifestation affected by friendly ability that would normally affect units, for example, those that give units the word keyword? No, except for those permitted in Magic, set 7.0, and those that specifically affect manifestation, such as banish manifestation, so on. So it's simply clarifying, but always do these ones, so to avoid any misunderstanding. I quite like. About the army composition, the army of renown. When using a army of renown, can I pick a faction terrain feature to include on my roster? Yes, unless that army of renown rules specifically state that you cannot include a faction terrain feature. Okay, nice and welcome, really. And then we have about the glossary. The glossary has not had any modification and it's like it. The same I can say about the Spearhead Fire and Jade, and the thing that has been changed, it's about the general handbook that has seen some changes, mainly related about the ones that are the manifestations and the spells. So we have, for example, about the launch of the Soul Keeper, that changed the second sentence of the effect of the Traverse the Tide of Death ability to it can pass through models during that move but cannot end that move in combat. About the Suffocating Skaventide, change the second sentence of Pull of the Grave. It can pass through models during that move but cannot end that move in combat again. Same about the Purple of Shaish, so all the same. Instead, about the Ether Void Pendulum, change the effect of the Shutting Base ability, so it's changed completely the effect. This manifestation can move a distance up to its move characteristic in one direction, the pendulum swings. It can pass through models during that move and can end that move in combat. Then pick up to 3 enemy units that this manifestation passed across during that move or that are within half inch of it to be the target. Roll a d6 for each target. On a 2 plus, inflict an amount of mortal damage to that target equal to the roll. So I think that is still amazing, and really it's simply some little changes about this, but it's quite nice. And then we had the changes about the faction packs. About the rules update for the faction packs, I mean that I would not like to treat them separately because there are simply some little change and so on, and it's based on your army. Anyway, we had that for the City of Sigmar, we had the battle trade that had the following the clear step to the advanced information ability, so you can pick the same unit to be the target of this ability more than once per turn. I think that's correct, this one. For the first layer, we had the chance for the timing of the runes renders zero ability to once per battle army, your movement phase and the timing bar color to gray. Okay. As you can see, there are really simple things that has been changed for all of them. The main part are the same. And remember that in the part about the updated scroll for the PDF, they have been corrected, so it's not a problem. So here it's up to you to decide if it's worth or not. For example, we had that for the account, the change control characteristic has been changed to 1. Okay, it's not something peculiar, so on. So really quite easy. Have that the Morgas Seka and the Morgas Minger has the fly keyword that they missed. It was perfectly understandable about it. The Mortis Guard that in the effect Soulbound Protector ability change the word roll of 1 to a modified word roll of 1. Also this, it's simple. okay, it's not something that is missing, it's simply something added, okay. About the Saurus, the Seraphons, we had the Saurus veteran on Agadon. We had that the Alpha Roar ability to pick this unit and each friendly Agadon Lancer unit bully within 12 inch of it to be the target. Okay, there are really quite a lot of simple things that has been added and so on. So the most part of them are the same, are simply something that it's up to you. And we have also some FAQ related that are new ones, but these are related about specific armies. So these I don't like to treat because they are really quite simple and are based on the one that you need up. In a way, there's been really, for the most part, like simple clarifying. I mean that some things I think that will be corrected even more in the next step of the future FAQ, and that they will not see a lot of things later, because I think that other than something quite apocalyptic one, there are simple little adjustment about, and a lot of these are related mainly about some specific situations, so really quite simple ones. And the one about defection on they will disappear when they are going to be released the battle tomes. So quite nice. Sincerely, I appreciate quite a lot because they are quite simple and quite easy accessible everything. Moreover, I appreciate that if they change something about the army, so it's a specific army temporary one, they republished with the correction that is, so you simply print them, you are conscious of what has changed, and you are fine without having to adjust, modify or some. I quite like such thing. So from that mode it's everything. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, to ring the bell so to receive notification about new video, to comment under here about this video, or if you want to suggest me new videos. So I hope to see you again to the next time.